G'day, welcome back. I'd especially like to welcome my new subscribers and I hope you enjoy the content on my channel. If you missed part 1 of the Steady Rest, there's a link up there now, you can go watch that first. Alrighty, so let's not muck around with this, I've still got plenty to do, so follow me over to the lathe and we'll have a look at what's up next. Over there. Alrighty, so I've been through my scrap bin and come up with a couple of pieces of material I can do this with. What I need to do next is make a base to sit the piece we just finished making on. It needs to have a couple of 45-degree V's cut in it so that we can sit up against these two rails. I want to cut them both at the same time so that they're, you know, the same bit of mucking around. And then once they're cut and I can get them in here, I'll clamp them up against the seam. I'll sort out this. This needs to have up to about the edge of those holes there, cut off it, and then I'll sit them on the top, weld them on. This one get welded together, and this side I'll put 2 little slots in it so that I can make this one just marginally adjustable. Well, actually can unbolt it, take it out, make it easier to fit, but then put it in, put the bolts in, put a clamp bolt in here so that I can do it up tight and clamp the whole thing up against these 2 rails, which is, you know, the reason I put that in there when I was doing the renos on the lathe, so that, you know, I can't squeeze it and compress this up too much. Anyway, so it's over to the mill to get on with this. I'll finish dressing that up and then I'll have to put the tilt vise on so that I can machine that in there. Alrighty, so that's cleaned up as much as I want to clean it up. This is the side I'm going to cut the V into, and I don't want to bother cleaning up these 2 ends because it's got to be cut in half and welded and all sorts of rubbish. It doesn't matter. So this side here, I didn't fly cut that because I've left it 1 millimetre higher than this when I cut this side, because I'm going to need to adjust the height of it once I figure out where it sits over the top of the bed. So I'll get this thing off now and get the angle vise on and we'll cut the V in there. Alrighty, so I spent a bit of time, got this all set up, set it up with the level box to 45 degrees. We'll get in, we'll machine this out, hopefully without any dramas. Well, that's a problem I didn't foresee. Again, I can't go any further this way at the moment. I'll have to wind it back over there and get the swarf guard out from underneath. Come back to you in a minute. Alrighty, so that was the last roughing pass, but this thing's red hot, so I'm just going to let it cool down a little bit and I'll change it to a 12mm 4-flute end mill and just do a finishing pass on it. Alrighty, not the most fabulous of finishes, but I'll certainly do the job. I mean, it's not a surface that has to slide, it's a surface that has to grip. So that's that bit done, more or less. I'll get it cut in half and then we'll sort out what I need to do with this surface, whether it needs to go down a bit more or not. Alrighty, so while you guys were looking this morning, I worked out how much to take off the top here and took it off, which you've probably seen enough machining of this thing. So time to cut it in half. A little worried about that. I've been trying, I messed around a fair bit this morning. I squared the job up to the blade and I'm a little worried that it would want to run off, and I didn't want to try and steady it by hand, but I think I'll steady it by hand. Sure beats a hacksaw. Alrighty, so while you weren't looking as well, I trimmed this down to the right width. So I think what I'll do now is attach this thing. I'm going to weld this one to here. This one I've got to cut it off, and I want to leave just a little bit of space. Weld the piece down that way. Weld it on and drill and tap a hole. I'll drill and tap a hole first through here, so that, and then in the top here, there are 2 bolts that will retain the bottom one, which I can take out and, you know, just slide it out, which will make it easy to fit it, like hook it on and slide it down. And then these 2 bolts will retain that, and the one in the front will allow me to clamp it up tight and then nip these 2 up to hold it all together. So that's what I'll do next. I'll get this off here and I'll weld that one to this one. Alrighty, so while you weren't looking, I dressed all that up, made it look pretty, and also while you weren't looking, I cut the end off, made up a piece for here, drilled and tapped it M8, and welded it on and cleaned it all up, made it look pretty. Righto, so give you an idea how this works. So that allows me to be able to just pop it on like that, then we can slide that piece in, and it's just a matter then of tightening up that bolt, which will clamp with the key. We'll clamp it all up against the rails there. Right, you might have noticed then when I clamp that it pull up, but it won't be able to do that once I put the 2 slots in here and the 2 bolts that bolt that one onto this. So that'll have to be next. Drill the holes in here and slot them just a little tiny bit, and then drill and tap the 2 holes in here to match them. Then once we've done that, then I don't know if it's going to fit it or not. I think it does. No, it won't. Alright, so I've changed the jaws. I put them on so that I could grip the inside of that. I'll have to swap the jaws over. Alright, now what I was going to say was I'll set it up on the chuck, and then I'm hoping it hangs down far enough. I haven't even checked it. Then I'll be able to slide this up against it, mark it to see if any of it needs cutting off. I'll cut it off, and then I'll just sit this up underneath it and tack it into place, and then take it all off and weld it up. But before I weld those 2 bits together, there are things I want to do to that other thing yet. Got to cut it in half and all that other stuff. But that's this one, just about done. I think I've had enough for one day. I might go and sit down and watch some YouTube videos. It's Friday and there's quite a few come out today, including mine. Alright, till tomorrow, that's it. Alrighty, I was lying in bed last night, couldn't stop thinking about this bloody thing. I'm not going to be able to, I wanted to actually put this in there, unless I can wind that out and grip it out here. It might. Oh, it does. Alrighty. Might be able to do it yet. I really wanted to have this in place when I tack it all together. Oh yeah, probably can. This is too short. I didn't even check, I never checked it, but it's no big deal. It's the thickness of this rule. I tried to get a 0.05mm feeler gauge in there. It was 0.05 in thou. It's 2 thou. So so you know that little bit of slop there won't matter too much, I don't think. Anyway, I want to finish all this clamping bolts off here to make sure the height is absolutely where it's got to be when it's all clamped up, before I go welding it up anyway. So I'm going to have to tack it in place, and then just a little bit of gap in there won't matter. I'll weld it all up. When I weld it up, it won't be a problem. Alrighty, so it's a bit early here. I've got to take my Saturday, I've got to take my daughter to school for some bullshit she has to do. Thailand, amazing Thailand. And when I come back, I'm going to set it up and drill and machine these two little slots in here, and then drill and tap the holes in that, so that I can finish checking all this out. And then we'll get on with what I've got to do for the rest of this. Need to drill and tap some holes in here for adjusting screws. Drill and tap some holes through these sections here for the clamp bolts. Make the thumb screws. Still a bit to do yet. Alrighty, if you guys keep looking away like that, you're going to miss half of this. No, only kidding. Right, so I've drilled and tapped these holes in here. So they're just sort of finger tight. Lift that up a bit. So it's somewhere up there. Tighten these up. So it's hard up against the thing. It's seated in there properly. Crank that up. And that ain't going anywhere. Alrighty, so now it's time to get into finishing this damn thing off. Bastard things. Get out the primitive thing. Alrighty, so that's one pin down. These little 4mm button heads I used aren't quite big enough to overlap that pin, so washer on there will do the job, just to stop it coming out. That 5mm shoulder there to keep this side away from it. I'll make a little shim up to put in this part here. So that's one down. I'll make another couple of those, and that's the pins done. Alrighty, so that's that. If you're wondering why I put 2 threads in there, this is the reason why. Once that's, well, in as far as it'll go, if I only had one in the centre, I wouldn't be able to come that far out. I'd only get to about there. So the bottom one allows me to get into around there somewhere. And then if I'm way up on something small, I can put the bolt back up in here a bit more. So that's why I've done that. And while you were looking yesterday afternoon, I rounded all these off. Got them looking all spiffy. So that's them done. So now I've got to work out where I'm going to cut this off. Got an idea about how I'm going to do it. I'll come back in a minute. Alrighty, so with half of this plus that, I come up with 107 millimeters to the centre line. So if I've got this set to 107, so if I put a little mark there, just play nice, stay where I put you. Turn me the other way. Get out of it easier. Alright, now we'll check it with this, but it's hard because it interferes with this edge here. So put that across there. See what it looks like. There's that line there, nowhere near it. So why is it so? Probably because of this, I'd say, is it? Yeah, it will be. Yeah, it's because it can't sit on this edge here, I think. Let's stick this in here. That's in the way. Alright, so I think I'll just run with those two marks anyway, I think. What do I get? I'll go like this. So that's telling me 49, which is what I got for half of it, and that's telling me 49, which is what I got for half of it. So I think those two marks I put on here, right? We'll just run with them, and I'll cut it off through there. Now, I've still got to drill a hole in here, here, and here. And originally I was going to make up a thumb screw with a thread attached, like part of it. And then it suddenly occurred to me that I can't go down through there with a thread because of these two bolts. So I've got this piece of 6mm stainless all thread, and I'm just going to drill and tap an M6 thread in there, and then go in as far as I can, Loctite it in. I might even just poke it through a little bit and then run the tap back down through there to take the end out of it once it's Loctited in there. And then I will make up a brass thumb screw. I've still got to make up the tabs, go on, where's the top one? They go on here yet. And what that will do is it'll sit across here, and I'll put a slot in it so that the thumb screw will have a groove in it that sits in that slot, so as I wind it, it'll move it in and out. Damn, I should have measured that bloody drill. I didn't go all the way through. Well, only just. So I finished drilling that and re-tap it. But anyway, shit happens, eh? So that's one adjusting knob down, and I'll make another two and we'll get on with it. Next time I'll drill them deep enough. Bloody idiot. Anyway, shit happens. Alrighty, this has been dragging on a bit now, so I decided I'd save a bit of pain for you in not videoing the making of this thing here. It's not the first one I made, it's actually the second one. The first one was just not even worth talking about. But to use something I heard someone else say the other day, if you haven't been picking up what I've been putting down, this is how that's going to work. That's just a little piece of 6mm, which I sort of basically milled in half, so that will sit in there like that, right, and pull it in and out. So that's not the bolts I actually bought for this. I don't know what I've done with them here somewhere. But anyway, so that will just sit on there. I'll use a transfer punch, find the right size, it'll fit that. I'll just set it up and punch where that needs to go, and then drill and tap like I said, for an M6 thread in there. I won't be able to get much in there, but it doesn't need much. I'll Loctite it in, and that way when I screw this, it'll move it all in and out like that. no worries. So still got shitloads to do yet. That took me over an hour to make that this morning. So much mucking around. That's why I didn't bother videoing. I'll make 2 more of them. It's a bit of a short day today. A friend of my wife died of ovarian cancer on Friday, so I've got to take her to the funeral this afternoon. So I won't get too much done today. But I will try and get 2 more of these made before we go, and maybe set them up, drill a couple of holes in here. Alrighty, so I've drilled and tapped those 3 holes in there, cleaned it up a bit, and I've made these 2 cuts nearly all the way through, because I didn't want to try and make them with the base welded on, and I didn't want to cut it in half before I weld the base on, so I just cut them most of the way through so it'll be easier to finish it later. Now I want to mill an area out in here, so I can use that area there for a clamp hole. So it'll just be a 6mm cap head that'll screw down into there to lock it up, keep it locked up that side. And when I finish doing that, I'm going to make a start on making a hinge for this side over here. Anyway, we'll get into this. I'm going to stop there because this is vibrating like crazy. So what I'm going to do is grab a lump of steel plate, put it in the front so it'll sit up against this and clamp the 2 together. Come back to you. Something tells me I would have been better off waiting until I'd cut that off so I could grip it down here lower. Alright, plenty of clearance for that in there. Alrighty, because I don't like my chances of getting a 5mm drill down all the way down through here without running into anything, I'll just drill this part here later. At this point in the video, I'd like to thank my patrons for the continued support. It's greatly appreciated. If you'd like to become a patron, there's a link down in the description. You can sign up down there and toss me a couple of dollars every month. If you don't want to become a patron, there's always Buy Me a Coffee, and there's a QR code on the screen there. You can scan that, or there's always that thanks button down there. Alrighty, had a bit of music playing there because it was absolutely pouring with rain here when I started this, and you wouldn't have heard much anyway. It stopped a couple of minutes ago. It's the first rain we've had 2.5 months. Alright, well, so that is the female part of the hinge. What I'll do is make up a little round, 10mm round piece that'll fit in there, drill a hole through here so I can pivot off that. Alrighty, shopping day today, so I'm just going to allow that to cool in place. Well, later on when I get back I'll finish welding it up because it's also bar day today. So I'll weld it all up and then it can cool off while I go and have a few beers. Alrighty, thanks to my wife disappearing out the door 5 minutes before it was time to go shopping, I got a chance to weld this up before we went out. And we've gone an hour and it's actually still a bit warm, unbelievable. Anyway, got some pretty decent welds in here, and I don't think these 2 parts will be parting company anytime soon. So I'll get them all dressed up, and then I'll cut this off and sort out the inside a bit more. And this is that hinge I made up yesterday. I made a little hinge bit there this morning. That gets welded on there. That weld this to there, and can hinge that way. All good. Well, viewers, it's still not 100% finished, but sort of there it is, and there it goes. Beautiful. Does exactly what I wanted it to do. and works really well. So you've seen that running like that now, and I'll show you what I've done that's it while you weren't looking. I welded on these two bits over here to form this hinge. What I'll sort of do, I made up the little, there's some little brass washers in shims in this side of the bearings to keep them away from here. And that was about it. So all I really want to do now is I want to cold blue these things and paint the rest of it. So I'll do that tomorrow. I've Loctited these in earlier, so I need to clean, they stick into that second thread a little bit, so I need to clean them out. I'll do that tomorrow once this Loctite, or this Bella that I've got in there is firmly set. But once again, there it is. Runs very nice. A bit of a monstrosity really, isn't it? But anyway, that's it. So I'll give you a look once I've got it all painted and finished off tomorrow. Alrighty, so there we have it, all painted up, looking new beaut. Bloody, when I was removing the tape I had in these slots, I bloody started to peel this back just here. I hope it'll stay stuck back down again. But anyway, so as you can see, everything works the way it was intended to work. So I'm just happy this is finished. This turned into a much bigger job than I ever anticipated it would be. It's taken me 3.5 weeks. Oh, missed a bit of paint just there. Oh well, shit happens. This is the last thing I'll ever paint, that colour green, because there's nothing left in this tin, and that was the last little bit I had. In fact, there was so little in there, I put a coat of clear on that, just to try and get a bit more paint on it. But anyway, that's life. I blued these up. So if you've watched all the 2 episodes of this, I probably could have stretched out to 3, truth be known. But anyway, if you enjoyed it and may have got something from it, how about giving it a great big thumbs up? Really helps me out. And feel free to make any comment you like, as long as it's not a derogatory one. Don't like those. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next week. And in the next video, I'll reveal a little truth about this thing. Bye bye.